Hey everyone, before you spend a penny on either of these, watch this comparison because the real value only becomes clear right at the end. If HDR editing instantly made photos cinematic, every cloudy phone shot would be hanging in a gallery by now. Anyway, let's jump straight into pricing. Aurora HDR follows a one-time purchase pricing model rather than a subscription. You pay once to own the software, with optional upgrade discounts when major versions release. This appeals strongly to photographers who don't want another monthly bill just to edit images. Pricing typically sits in the mid-range for photo software, reflecting Aurora HDR's specialized focus on high dynamic range photography rather than general image editing. For comparison, Photopea takes a completely different approach. Photopea is primarily free to use through the browser, supported by ads. A paid subscription removes ads, improves performance, and supports the developer, but core editing features remain accessible even without paying. From a pricing standpoint, Aurora HDR is a premium, ownership-based tool, while Photopea is accessibility first, offering professional features with minimal financial commitment. Another important reason photographers gravitate toward Aurora HDR is how much control it gives without overwhelming the user. While HDR editing can easily become extreme or artificial, Aurora HDR encourages a more balanced approach. The software allows photographers to dial in subtle adjustments that enhance depth and contrast while preserving natural colors and textures. This is especially valuable for landscape, real estate, and architectural photography, where realism still matters. Now let's talk about what Aurora HDR actually does. Aurora HDR is a dedicated HDR photo editing application built specifically for photographers who want dramatic, dynamic range, rich detail, and realistic lighting control. It allows users to merge multiple exposures into a single HDR image or apply HDR effects to a single photo. The software includes advanced tone mapping, luminance masking, and layer-based adjustments that give photographers precise control over highlights, shadows, and midtones. One of Aurora HDR's biggest strengths is its AI-powered processing. The software intelligently analyzes images to balance exposure, enhance detail, and preserve realism without pushing photos into unnatural territory. Presets provide quick starting points, while manual controls allow experienced users to fine-tune results. Aurora HDR also integrates well into existing workflows, functioning as a standalone editor or a plugin for software like Lightroom and Photoshop. Aurora HDR supports layers, masks, blending modes, and selective adjustments, making it flexible enough for creative compositing and realistic photo correction. The interface is clean and photography focused, avoiding unnecessary tools that would distract from image quality. Performance is optimized for high-resolution RAW files, which is essential for landscape and architectural photographers. Now for the pros and cons. On the positive side, Aurora HDR delivers excellent HDR results, powerful AI assistance, and a clean workflow tailored specifically to photographers. The one-time purchase model adds long-term value. On the downside, Aurora HDR is niche by design. It's not a full replacement for general photo editors, and users looking for broad graphic design tools may feel limited. Still, for photographers serious about HDR, Aurora HDR does exactly what it's built for. Now let's move on to Photopea, which approaches image editing from a completely different angle. Photopea is a browser-based photo editor designed to replicate many features of professional desktop software without requiring installation. It runs entirely online and supports advanced file formats including PSD, XCF, Sketch, XD, and RAW files, making it especially useful for designers and photographers working across platforms. Photopea offers a surprisingly deep feature set. It supports layers, masks, blend modes, adjustment layers, smart objects, text tools, selection tools, filters, and retouching features commonly found in professional editors. Because it runs in the browser, users can open files instantly on almost any device, which makes it ideal for quick edits, emergency fixes, or working on shared machines. One of Photopea's standout advantages is compatibility. Designers can open Photoshop files without converting formats, edit them, and export back to PSD with layers intact. This makes Photopea extremely valuable as a lightweight companion tool rather than a full desktop replacement. It's also popular among students, freelancers, and remote teams who need flexibility without licensing complexity. Another reason Photopea has built such a loyal following is how practical it is in real-world situations. When a designer needs to open a file quickly on a borrowed computer, fix a PSD while traveling, or make a last-minute change without installing software, Photopea becomes the obvious choice. This convenience turns it into a reliable backup tool, even for professionals who primarily use desktop editors. It removes friction in moments where speed and access matter more than raw power. Photopea also benefits from being actively developed with community feedback. New features, performance improvements, and compatibility updates appear regularly, keeping the tool relevant despite running entirely in the browser. While it won't replace dedicated desktop software for heavy production work, Photopea shines as a flexible problem solver. It's the kind of tool you may not use every day, but when you need it, it saves time, money, and stress, making it an essential part of many modern creative toolkits. Now let's talk pros and cons. On the plus side, Photopea is incredibly accessible, powerful for a browser-based tool, and largely free. It supports professional workflows, advanced file formats, and runs without installation. On the downside, performance depends on browser and system resources, and complex projects can feel slower compared to native desktop apps. The interface closely mirrors Photoshop, which is great for familiarity, but can feel dense for beginners. In terms of ratings, both Aurora HDR and Photopea generally receive positive feedback, but Trustpilot data may be limited or inconsistent, especially for niche or browser-based tools. Ratings should be treated as general sentiment rather than definitive judgment. Final takeaway: choose Aurora HDR if you want a dedicated, high-quality HDR editing tool with AI assistance and ownership pricing. Choose Photopea if you want powerful, flexible image editing available anywhere with minimal cost. If this comparison helped, like and subscribe to the channel and click the link below to access the software and start editing with the tool that best fits your workflow and budget.